death is contrary to reason, and to the order and happiness of society, and contrary to divine revelation. This quote from Philadelphia-born Dr. Benjamin Rush, good friend of Benjamin Franklin, explains that capital punishment is hypocritical in the way of punishing killers by killing. He says that it corrupts society and is against the beliefs of religion. Good morning. You've just heard the affirmative plan to legalize the death penalty countrywide. A plan that is not only unjust, but impractical and undesirable. Layla and I believe that the resolution addressed by the affirmative team, resolved that the death penalty should be legalized throughout the entire United States, is an immoral and generally unacceptable idea. As Layla briefly discussed earlier, capital punishment would be contradictory to the idea of morality, costly, and unconstitutional. As I quoted from Dr. Rush earlier, killing a person convicted for the crime of killing is highly contradictory. If the government punishes a murderer by killing them, then they are literally committing the exact crime that they are punishing the murderer for. Let me start out with first-degree murder, the worst kind of murder in the United States. What kind is this? Premeditated. Premeditated murder, as defined by dictionary.com, is a killing done deliberately or planned in advance. If the affirmative plan to legalize capital punishment is accepted in the United States, then by the definition of premeditated murder, using the affirmative plan, the United States would be rightfully deemed murderous. Has anyone ever heard the saying, 2 wrongs don't make a right? Well, what makes the United States government an exception to this rule? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Desmond Tutu, an activist in the fight against apartheid, said, "To take a life when a life has been lost is revenge, not justice." The victims' families are looking for vengeance, a sick kind of revenge. When a person is killed, the victim's family goes back to thinking of Hammurabi. For those of you unfamiliar, Hammurabi's code was an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. As society has moved on to realize, this method is irrational. If capital punishment is legalized through the affirmative plan, society has taken one giant step backwards in the methods and means of punishment. Ireson Scott's plan may sound perfect the first time it's heard, however there are many faults. Economy, a word that seems to be mentioned in conversation, politics, media, and pretty much anywhere else on a daily basis these days. We are seemingly headed on our way to a second Great Depression. Yes, life is expensive, but contrary to first beliefs, death can be even costlier. In a time where the United States debt is increasing, why legalize a method of punishment that is even more expensive than the current one? Sure, jail for life is an expensive sentence, there's no arguing that, but what most people don't know is that death by lethal injection or other methods is even more costly. In fact, according to balancepolitics.org, carrying out one death sentence costs anywhere from 2 to 5 times more than keeping that same criminal in a prison for the rest of their life, just as my partner Layla addressed earlier. Not only is the killing itself costly, but as Ireson Scott failed to mention, there are in most cases multiple appeals, not just one, following legal battles after the sentence of a death penalty. Again, according to balancepolitics.org, the events following the sentence include the involvement of judges, attorneys, court reporters, and clerks, and court facilities. These all require a substantially large investment by the taxpayers and convict's family. So who's to say that the people want this? Who's to say that the taxpayers, the ordinary United States citizens, want this? They don't. As shown in frequent petitions, the affirmative plan is not what the people want. Also, according to balancepolitics.org, a person could be waiting on death row from anywhere to 15 to 20 years, not to mention the costliness of their requirements. The plan presented by the affirmative leads to nothing but more economic distress for an already struggling country. In addition to the above-mentioned problems, the plan violates the 8th Amendment of the Constitution. The 8th Amendment states that there shall be no cruel and unusual punishment in the United States. As the Supreme Court declared in a 1972 case, the death penalty is unconstitutional. Not only does it violate this clause for the attacker, but for the doctors and people involved in the punishment who will forever carry on the guilt of killing a man, an unusual punishment for innocent people. Also, with a plan to legally allow the death penalty, the innocent people wrongly convicted for capital crimes would not have the chance to be proven innocent. This plan could, and sometimes even now does, in states that have the death penalty legalized, ensure the death of innocent citizens throughout the United States. An example of this would be a man in Texas, found guilty of killing through arsenal, who was proven innocent after he was executed through the death penalty. As said in the article, Texas kills an innocent man. The highest judges in the state of Texas and the 5th Circuit Court of Appeals misinterpreted his conviction and provided his death sentence in 2004. In conclusion, every person deserves the right to live. Our founding fathers got it right with the 3 unalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How can a man be denied his unalienable rights? The affirmative plan to legalize the death penalty is in all ways atrocious. The narrative states that legalizing the death penalty is contrary to society, costly, and unconstitutional, and has the potential to kill the innocent. The United States should not implement a plan, such as the one presented by the affirmative, which would only harm the country, rather than improve it. Human rights attorney Stephen Bright said, "It can be argued that rapists deserve to be raped, that mutilators deserve to be mutilated. Most societies, however, refrain from responding in this way, because the punishment is not only degrading to those on whom it is imposed, but it is also degrading to the society that engages in the same behavior as the criminals. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The ancient code of Hammurabi. Does the United States want to step backwards in modernization? Layla and I think that we as a country, in all ways, cannot afford to do this." Thank you.